Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us in our first ever episode of Cracking the Code of eCommerce, which is brought to you by PayFast as well as uAfrica. Joining me as my co-host today is Danny, and she will give you a bit more details on who we'll be discussing today, which will be Veldskoen and Going for Gold.
Hi, everybody. It is so good to be back and being part of events again. It feels like it's been forever. So it's really good to be back and see some of you already on screen. I'm sure more people will be joining over the next few minutes. So before I introduce Nick and Ross a little bit more, I'm just going to go over some basic housekeeping, which we usually do for these kinds of events. So you will see on your right-hand side, there's a little bar. Nick and Twin and Ross have already commented on it. You can use this chat box throughout the entire talk. You can shoot us your questions. You can comment on how good we look. You can make suggestions for any, meetup topics that you want in the future. Anything and everything on your mind, let us know. We want this to be as interactive as possible. And since it's happy hour, grab a drink, grab some snacks, sit back and enjoy one of the coolest stories in e-commerce history, I think. So without much further ado, let me introduce Nick and Ross from Veldskoen. They'll be joining now. So it takes a bit of time. Just the four of us on the call a little bit earlier trying to figure this platform out has already been the biggest jolt of my day. So I can only imagine it's going to get better. Hi, Nick and Ross.
How's it going, guys?
How are you?
Good.
And you guys?
Good, thanks. Nice to see you again.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. Just right. A quick one, just to make sure. Did I beat Nick onto the platform, or did Nick beat me? It's quite an important question for us.
I would say you're about even.
Were we even? No,
I think she's just being generous.
Okay, cool. I think before we start going through some of the questions and chatting about Veldskoen, the company and the brand, maybe we can do a quick intro to you guys. So if you don't mind, I'm going to hand over to maybe Ross first. So you can just tell us a little bit more about you, maybe answer 3 questions. What is your favorite food? Your favorite drink, and where would you prefer to go on holiday?
Sure. Okay. Well, my favorite drink, fortunately or unfortunately, and it has always been, is Coke. I was raised and born, drinking Coke my whole life. So unfortunately, Coke is my choice of poison. And as I got older, obviously brandy was a great addition to the Coke. With regards to holiday, I love Hermanus. It's one of the greatest little towns in South Africa, and we go there every year with the family, and it is just one of the most beautiful places in the world.
And Ross, what your favorite food? I think is
favorite food. Was there 3 questions? Okay, I didn't tell.
Page 1 of the menu.
No, my favorite food. I have to admit, I'm an absolute sucker for a great carpaccio. So whether it's a tuna or a springbok or a beef carpaccio, that's my go-to meal.
Amazing. Why?
Love it.
Why is that your favorite? Yeah.
You say why? Why is it my favorite meal? Mm-hmm. It's just delicious.
Interesting. What about you, Nick?
Cool, Nick. Same 3 questions.
Also, let me just answer for Ross, because he didn't actually say who he is. This is Ross Zonaf, the managing director of.
I thought we were just going 3 questions. My apology. Well, look, you've introduced me a few times, so might as well do it again.
Yeah. Anyway, so this is Ross Zonaf, my co-founder of Veldskoen and Plucky. I'm Nick Dreyer, and I'm also one of the founders with Ross, and I'm the CEO of Veldskoen. And my favorite food is got to be hamburgers, because they're difficult to make delicious, and they are so readily available, and they're available at speed. So I love good hamburgers, and I like eating them all over the world.
There's an important question with that though. Beef or chicken?
No, it's beef, 100%.
Beef.
Okay. I'm a traditionalist, so beef and coleslaw and fries and tomato sauce, that's pretty much it. And pickle. And my favorite drink, I live in the Cape, guys, it's wine. Wine. So it's happy to be doing it. And then the favorite place to go on holiday, that's really, really interesting. I'm lucky enough to have traveled quite well, having been in the hospitality industry for a while before joining Veldskoen and or starting Veldskoen. And I was lucky enough to travel to many, many places. And my favorite place in the world to travel to is India. I'm a big fan of India, and I look forward to being able to visit again soon.
Amazing.
That's so incredible. We're definitely going to get back to that during the question session. So I have a few questions for you on that one. But I think let's dive in. Maybe, I don't know if it's a very common thing that people know, but maybe you guys can tell us where the idea of Veldskoen originated and how you guys sort of started the company. Tell us that story.
I think I'm going to go first because we've got a tendency to do where I'll speak and then Nick will articulate my speech for me better than I can. So that it actually started on a very simple manner. Nick was on his way back from Plet and coming back to Cape Town. I was in Cape Town, busy working, and he phoned me, and he was on his drive, and he phoned me. He said, "Listen, I've just got into the drive. I'm a bit bored. Would you mind just talking to me while I drive through?" So obviously started chatting, and one of the things that we started speaking about was the 2016 Olympics when we were at Rio. And one of the things that both myself and Nick sort of commented on was how poorly our sort of South Africans not really looked, but how they to us they weren't representative of our country in terms of just culture and everything that goes with it. And we just thought that they came out in these boring tracksuits and I think they all had different tackies on and everything like that. And we just thought we missed a beat. I mean, if you looked at all the other countries, you looked at Nigeria, Congo, America, the UK, Spain, they all had something that was very traditional, to their country. And then myself and Nick started debate on this telephone call. What was sort of traditionally South African, and we went through quite a bit of a tie-up. And somehow we got stuck on shoes. Like what do we export? What are our shoes that we do here? And the only thing that we could come up with Veldskoen. It's been a shoe that's been around here for over 400 or 500 years, and it's been a part of the African heritage for a long time. But we got stuck on that. But the both of us sort of said, listen, it's a great shoe, but it's really not a pretty shoe. It's and it wasn't a very popular shoe a few years ago.
Yeah.
But Nick had actually come across a company called Carl Hahn. They were manufacturing. They took a traditional Oxford shoe, and they took a Nike sole, and they pushed the two together, and they made this unique shoe. And Nick said, well, maybe we should do that with Veldskoen. Is actually take a traditional Veldskoen, and we push a nice colorful sole onto it and see what happens. At that time, Nick had a designer on his roll, and he had asked him to basically take a Veldskoen, take the South African flag, and take all the colors and just mix the soles. And Nick, you can maybe go on further from here, but when we actually saw those images, both myself and Nick went like, wow, that's actually quite nice. It's actually, I'd wear that shoe. And I think that's where the sort of the genesis of our story began.
It was a remarkable thing when we received those images, which were photoshopped, by the way.
Amazing.
And we scrolled through them. There was this moment of realization that we had stumbled upon something quite special. And the car journey was 6 hours. We did this in the first hour or so of the journey for me. But by the time I arrived in Cape Town 6 hours later, Veldskoen Pty Limited was registered. And we had started the procedure to start getting trademarks registered as well, which I'm sure you're going to want to know more about, is interesting considering neither of us knew anything about online retail, anything about fashion, anything about footwear, and neither of us had much fashion sense or bought many shoes in our lives. So we were two of the most unlikely people, if not the most unlikely people. Also, we went to Pretoria Boys High, and we're English, so we were never really exposed to Veldskoen when we were younger. And so the story begins with this strange serendipitous discovery by two highly unlikely individuals that then went on to try and achieve the business that we have now.
And Crystal and Danica, I mean, we can't emphasize enough, like the two most unlikely people to get into fashion and have a shoe company. Are myself and Nick, and we were English. So when my wife is Afrikaans, and when we actually got the courage to tell my wife that this is what myself and Nick are doing, she just laughed, because she's like, "You English and you got no idea what a Veldskoen is," and just laughed and said, "Listen, please do me a favor, just don't quit your day job." So we were the most unlikely pair to think about Veldskoen, that's for sure.
I'm sure she's quite proud of you now, though.
She's our boss.
She's currently our boss. So she's taken over. She's our COO and is definitely our boss.
Amazing. Yeah. And what was your guys' initial growth strategy when you started this?
That's a great question. We immediately went online. That's the only place we could play because we knew nothing about retail. So Ross and I actually spent pretty much a full year learning how to build our own e-commerce sites. And we paid massive school fees in terms of that. We made a mess of our customer service for the first 6 to 8 months. We made a mess of our payments. We made a mess of our returns. We made a mess of our exchanges, but we trenched through it, and we had to go through this tremendous learning curve. But to answer your question, the only place we could grow was online. So Veldskoen is at its heart a digital online business that just so happens to sell shoes. But what happened, which was interesting, and I think this has been documented a few times, is that once we kind of hit our groove online, we duplicated immediately in the UK. And Ross and I literally flew over to the UK, sat in an Airbnb for 5 days, and built Veldskoen with 200 pairs of shoes. We didn't take luggage; we just took shoes, and we built this. We built everything there, and then flew home. So that was our growth strategy: was just online, and it was more territory versus opening stores. We hardly knew how to do online, so the thought of stores was so far from our thinking. It was always an online-based business. Look,
I mean, just before, I mean, to that point, the reality was we bumbled through the first 6 months. As I said, we launched a website. We actually got orders before we actually had even a manufacturer. We were bounced between a manufacturer in Cape Town and in Durban. There was one in Joburg that we were looking at. But we had confirmed orders and payments received before we actually had a product. So I mean, that was another whole nightmare that we had to
make it till you make it, right?
Yeah. And
what was your turnaround time?
What's that?
What was your turnaround time? If you were having orders before you even had the stock, what was your turnaround time?
So it was we got down to about, I think, 2 months, eh?
Wow.
Yeah. So the nice thing, funny enough, we've still got the first 100 orders. Still got those orders. So what we did was myself and Nick picked up the phone. We phoned them and we actually said, "Listen, guys, just to let you know, we are going live, but we are delayed. We can only get the shoes out in the next sort of 8 weeks." And I have to admit, every single one of them was, "We're happy to wait, but we just want the shoes." So for us, it was a very positive sign that people just wanted the shoes, but we had to really then put the pressure on. But and it's very interesting in terms of online, which, when myself and Nick started, we went to retail. To be honest, we looked at retail stores, we looked at the opportunities, And at that stage, retail just didn't want to open the doors for us. There wasn't even a possibility of even getting into retail. We didn't have a brand. We didn't have, we didn't have any traction. We didn't have any history. So not one of the stores were even willing to look at us. And the only thing that was to us or valuable to us was online. And that's what we ventured into.
It's an amazing story that you tell, because I think it's a comfort to people getting started in the e-commerce industry at the moment that it's not just sunshine and roses, and it's plugging through it the first couple of months because you genuinely don't know what you're doing. Yeah. You guys had an insane growth over the past couple of years. How did your shoes then end up on the feet of the Olympic team?
So that's, you've hit at the final, like this crazy loop, right? So we thought of this idea based on the fact that our athletes didn't look representative of South Africa, and then we managed to close that loop 4.5 years later. It would have been 4 years later if it wasn't for COVID, of course.
Yeah.
You referenced two things: one, the Olympics, and this crazy growth spurt. So what happened was, in terms of growth, we immediately generated national interest through the likes of Prince Harry wearing our shoes in the UK. We took investment from Long for Life, which is a headline listed company. We ended up being the first brand non-owned by Woolworths to be in Woolworths. So we generated an enormous amount of press and publicity, including some high-profile investment in the States. And then this growth spurt happens, and we had to adjust, and we had to make sure that we could operate in different channels outside of online. So we had to move into retail. We had to get real expertise. That's Dricky that joined the team, and expanded. And then 4 years later, we remembered that we needed to talk about the Olympics, because that's how we started. But we had no idea how to do that. Who does? Like, how would you ever figure out how to get your shoes on the athlete? So because we didn't know, we literally made a little video of me asking South Africa for help. And the video is still online, and you can watch it. It's me going, "Hi, South Africa, we've got this dream to put our shoes on the athletes, but we've got no idea how to do that. Could somebody get in touch with us if they know how, or help us to achieve this dream of ours?" And the next day, Ravi, the CEO of Sascock, phoned me, and he's like, "Listen, I've just seen your video on Facebook. Apparently you're looking for me."
Oh, wow.
Incredible.
That's amazing.
That's how our Olympic journey with Sascock started. And I always take this opportunity because, we're always so tough on our government and all our institutions in South Africa. But I always take a moment to say how incredibly supportive and open-minded Sascock was. And their mission was to support local business for the Olympics. And they're not perfect, but their hearts are in the right place. And they wanted to do cool stuff with us. And they opened their doors. And even when they attracted big sponsorship with Mr. Price, which was amazing, they still made space for a small brand like us. So when Tokyo came and the athletes came out wearing our shoes, and then the Paralympics, guys, I can't tell you, for us, it was the most surreal. I mean, it makes me a little bit emotional talking about it, because it's such a crazy thing, right? I mean, to see a visual, very visceral reflection of what your work has been about for 4.5 years is such a rare thing that, I mean, we all had a really good time enjoying that.
Yeah, that must have been a very proud moment, achieving the goal you set out when you started all of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
it was as it was surprise.
Yeah, I think to Nick's point, I mean that I don't think it was ever. I think it was our big goal to do it. We didn't expect to do it in the first 4 years. I have to admit. And I mean, just to come back, when we designed the shoe, one of our biggest sort of drivers were actually the people coming to South Africa. So the shoe, just a bit of sort of history. The shoe for us was a part of South Africa, and we wanted tourists to come to South Africa, buy a pair of Veldskoen, experience the incredible beaches, incredible bushveld, incredible cities that we have in South Africa, and then go back home with their pair of Veldskoen and say they've got something tangible that they walk in and they can, they can use to remind them about South Africa. And it's a lovely icebreaker in terms of saying these are actually from South Africa. This is where it was, and to get just to sort of get a good sort of feel about South Africa out. What we didn't realize, I have to admit, was the fact how much South Africans supported our brand. I mean, that was to us was a big thing. We thought we would just be a tourist shoe where people would buy it and then take it back home. And South Africa really has got behind us, which to us was just phenomenal. And it's been an incredible ride over the last 4 years because we have been supported by every South African in every way, form, and shape. And I think that's you talk about the growth. We never expected to grow like that in South Africa, and we did because South Africans got behind it and they supported it. Yeah, and this whole sort of trend of supporting local has been incredible, and we've definitely benefited from it.
It is an incredible shoe. Really, It is an incredible shoe. And I say that I wear Fellies. My husband's a hunter, and you got to have a quality shoe, but that you can also wear out.
Yeah.
I wear my Fellies, I think, more than I probably should, because of the comfort. I mean, they're so versatile. It's great quality. They are like slippers. Eventually, and it's a brilliant shoe. So I can understand 100% why South Africans also get behind that.
Yeah, I mean, we always say, you can. The only thing what we've realized is that if you've got a product that works, no matter like people will get behind it. If you've got something that genuinely works, we found that people will support you. And in our shoe, the Veldskoen is in its design is one of the most simple designs in the world. But it just works. We've tinkered around in terms of our shape and our leather and our feel and our comfort, but we've got the right mix where it really is just a comfortable pair of shoes. And it's in that simplicity that we've done. We've succeeded.
Amazing. And tell us a little bit more about your local and your international partnerships through your growth.
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
It's interesting because it actually relates directly to COVID. We've always Ross and I really knew that we had a potentially a global brand. If we did the work, we felt like there was a global brand to be had. But we knew that our focus had to be abroad. So that's why we went to the UK within a couple of months of being finding our feet. We went to the US right quickly after that, and then we opened up Aussie and Taiwan. Funny enough, and those are the 4 territories we were in February of 2020. Then what happened was COVID, of course, locked the country down and slowed our retail sales down like it did for everybody. And we realized that this compression would potentially last. We took a view that it would last at least a year. And that forced us in February of 2020 to urgently reassess our strategy, not in terms of our recognition that we were to grow globally, but rather to amplify it and to speed it up, because we knew that the rest of the world would release from the grips of this pandemic slightly faster than South Africa. So I'll give you the most incredible stat. In Feb 2020, we were in 4 countries. And when I say we were in 4 countries, it meant we had shoes in country. It didn't mean we were shipping to 4 countries. That's different. We were actually present. And today, which is effectively like a year and a half later, we're present in 29 countries globally.
Wow.
And that happened because of COVID. So and also Aussie, for example, went from being online to now being online plus like 25 or 30 stores in Aussie. And we did that through a network of distributors that we found that were in love with our product, South African people living abroad that were interesting and that had a passion for our product and our brand. And we engaged them, and we found ways to do business with them, and through really smart. One other thing that was really lucky is that when Ross and I built the business in the beginning, we weren't ever in the same office. So we've been using Zoom and Skype for 5 years.
Yeah.
So when COVID happened, that's like quite normal for our business. And so growing distributors for us virtually is kind of how we've always done our business. So it wasn't a departure for us. And we, through good communication, through really great leadership, specifically from Dricky, who has experience in exports, we managed to grow this platform from four countries globally to now, nearly 30 a year and a half later, which is it's I don't want to use the word impressive, but it's certainly noticeable.
It's very impressive.
Just on that as well. I mean, the interesting thing as well. I mean, what we've done just in terms of strategy. We went out and we looked. We definitely got a lot of inquiries, but we definitely looked for South Africans overseas because it's very easy to a person knows what a Veldskoen is, so we don't have to describe it to them, and it's quite an easy sell. So all of our distributors have, I think 99% of them are South African or have lived here for numerous years, and it's very easy then to do business because they understand South Africa, they understand the way we do it. When you start dealing in different countries, you deal with different cultures, and in that it's its own sort of a problem. So we've stuck to South Africans in those countries, and it's really has paid off very well for us.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Okay. All right. So you've heard sort of where you guys have all spread to, which is that stat is absolutely crazy. But I'm going to bring it back home a little bit. Tell us more about the Sarai Veldskoen project. I hope I'm saying that right. You are. Yay.
Sarai stands for Save Our Rhinos, Africa and India.
Wow.
SORAI, so well pronounced. It's an interesting project. We've it's one of our first big collaborations, which we collaborated with Kevin Peterson, the global cricket superstar. I'm not sure, Ross, are we allowed to claim Kevin Peterson as our own, or do the Poms have him?
No, I think he's definitely a Durban boy, so we'll claim him. I mean, he played for Poms for a few years, but he's definitely South African.
Okay, so Kevin, we claim him, and Kevin approached us having seen the shoes and passionate about Africa and passionate about conservation, and he asked if we would make a shoe in collaboration with his brand Sarai, which is a apparel brand, and more. He collaborates with some incredible brands. One of them is Hublot watches, and have a look at that if you haven't seen it. And we collaborated to make a bespoke shoe for him, where proceeds of the shoe go to his program for rhino conservation and others. And we built a shoe together and then took it to market. But that's always been part of our DNA, is to collaborate, for a couple of reasons. One, we've always had a very open policy in our business to collaborate and help where we can, but also because we're big believers that if you work together with other great brands, then you share audiences, which is just common sense. It's really good. It's good business because you can get out to a broad audience. And I don't know if you know this, Sarai is a really great example of that. We just had the other day Adriana Lima, who's one of the great supermodels of the world, put a picture up of her Sarai shoes. I think she's got 14 million followers. I mean, we can possibly do that on our own. So this is this concept of being open to collaboration and also being able to share in people's bigger audiences, and then at the same time being able to try and help and do for a good cause. One of the other very interesting collaborations that we've got coming up now, and it's not just a good collaboration, it's actually a good for South Africa, is our Plucky collaboration with the NSRI. And Ross, I'll let you tell a little bit about that, because that's our big campaign for our flip-flop plucky for the summer. But it's important that South Africa knows about this, because it's going to do some really good work.
Look, I'm gonna sound like a broken record, and I do apologize about this, but yeah, I think for us, in terms of, even if you look at the collaboration, Sarai, we've done a few other small collaborations, and we've got the 8 feet with the Tokoyo family, and we've got I don't know if we can mention the other one yet, but we've got some nice collaborations that we're busy with. But I think for us, what we look for is we don't just collaborate with anyone. We look at how we can collaborate with people that can actually tell a positive story about South Africa. We have a tendency, and a lot of people have a tendency just to break us down in terms of they view us in terms of maybe a political situation. But South Africa is so much more than just one aspect. We have got incredible people here. We've got incredible cultures. We've got incredible languages. And what we want to do is we want to shine a light on everything that we can that's in South Africa. And there is so much good. So the Sarai is if you look at the rhinos, it's an important part of Africa and South Africa. And Sarai do incredible work. I mean, if you go find out the amount of work that they put into that organization, it is just phenomenal. So for us as Veldskoen to be part of something like that is incredible. And our whole aspect is to shine light on South Africa, so people can have a much more positive and just a more positive sort of a point of South Africa. In connection with the pluckies, I mean, it's we looked at, I mean, for us, plucky is a fun brand. It's something that everyone wears. We're all aware of the name. It's a very South African term. And what we do is we when myself and Nick started looking at plucky as a brand, the first thing that both of us went to were just our beaches, because we have got once again we've got some of the most incredible beaches in the world. And what we decided to do is we named all our pluckies after beaches. So you've got the Clifton, you've got the yes, I'm gonna now Nick, just help me out now quickly. You got Clifton, you got there we go. Thank you. So and in that, what we've decided to do is the NSRI have come up with an initiative where they help it's a pink buoy that they put along the coastlines. So if anyone is in a situation where they're drowning, any person can take that buoy, run in, and save not only themselves but the person that's drowning. So it's an incredible initiative, and it's one that we want to get South Africans really behind it, because it's already saved 75 lives that they are aware of. They know for a fact that there are a lot of times the buoys have been used to save lives, but they don't get recorded. So there are 75 recorded savings that it's helped. It's one in a world initiative award, I think this year or last year. So it's an incredible initiative, and for Plucky, to be associated with that is incredible. So what we've done is we've created an NSRI Pinkies for Boys Plucky, and all of those donations we're doing it at cost, and everything that we make on that goes to NSRI. And for every 10 pair of Pluckies that we sell, we will be able to get a buoy. And that's not only in the oceans, but also on pools and dams and in places like that where we're going to be putting these pink buoys up. So for us, it's an incredible initiative as well. So we try and partner with people that do great things and amazing things in South Africa and for South Africa.
Your passion for South Africa is inspiring. Really is. It's motivating. Like it makes you fall in love with the country again. It's incredible.
But Danica, what I think for myself and Nick, we have an incredible country. I mean, we have a podcast where we speak to South Africans that have left, not just for different opportunities, and what you realize is that how amazing South Africans actually are, and how well we do overseas and obviously locally. But the fact of the matter is that every person that we speak to they hold South Africa in the most dearest way. And it's about time that we, as South Africans, get that confidence to say, we are South African, we love our country, Yes, we've got troubles and yes, we've got problems, but I'll tell you what, every other country has as well. But we've
Yeah.
got an incredible people, we've got an incredible nation, and I think if we all band them together, I mean, we make amazing products, we make amazing things here. And it's just about time that South Africans actually start believing in it. That's all.
It's true. It's
Yeah.
very true. Now, the business has obviously expanded and you've gone through so much to get here. Can you tell us a little bit about the challenges and maybe what was the toughest part of actually getting something like Veldskoen started?
That's quite easy. My toughest challenge, sorry, just before Nick. Well, yeah, exactly. My toughest challenge was definitely working with Nick. That's by far the hardest thing to do every day. I struggle with
more about that.
I go to therapy on a daily basis for it as well, and that will be the constant challenge throughout my life is to work with him. That's my challenge.
What are the challenges, guys? It's easy. Everything's a challenge. The highlights would be customer service is a challenge in an online business because you've got to be authentic and you've got to be fast and you've got to be sympathetic, and to find your voice is takes a bit of time. And I mentioned earlier that Ross and I made a mess of customer service for the first, I think, a year. Ross, probably a full year that we made a mess of it.
Yeah, no. Look, when Nick says we made a mess, I think we failed. We obviously didn't have wonderful partners like uAfrica and PayFast back then. So we really did bumble through lots of things, and we definitely tested our clients. That's for sure.
Yeah, but I think it's the usual business challenges. When you come with growth comes a cash flow requirement and a funding requirement, which you have to manage. But more so, I think it's always skill set. Skill set is where your skill set deficiencies become very apparent as you get bigger, right? So, for example, as we moved into retail, Ross and I will be the first to tell you that that's not where our skill set lies. So we had to hire in skills for that purpose, which meant the business had to get a little bit bigger. And you have to recognize that early, that if you're going to exceed in specific channels, then you're going to have to get really great people to do that on your behalf.
We've employed amazing people because everyone in our organization is 10 times smarter than what we are. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the trick, right? Is to surround yourself with really smart people.
People laugh, but our staff I tell you, our staff are better than we are, and hence much better than Nick as well. But I mean, they're better than the both of us. That's for sure.
The huge challenge that we have faced, which I think every business has faced, is the pandemic. Let's just, I think, take a moment of pause to recognize that just surviving the COVID pandemic as a business is an achievement. And I think our thoughts and sympathy goes out to businesses all over South Africa that have almost by none of their own doing just been put in a situation where they can't survive. If you think of the events business, and if you think of movie houses, and you think of gymnasiums, it's we're fortunate that we still had a product that we could move, and we feel incredibly blessed to have done that. But the reality is that this has been a testing time, and I think what Ross also mentioned now is important. Thank goodness for online, right? Thank goodness for being able to talk to our customers directly. We still managed to transact, which is incredible. If you think that our retail stores, the doors were shut, right? So you couldn't physically get money out of the system. Where online, you could still transact, and we could still. There's a short period where we couldn't deliver product, but as soon as that opened, we could still deliver product, and the wheels could still churn, albeit slowly. And I think that's a really valuable lesson for businesses to learn, is that keep the ability to talk to your customer, which talks to online, and secondly, online is in your own hands if you partner well. So I mean, and it's not just a plug, guys. I mean, uAfrica and PayFast are critical to our operation and critical to our business. So And that's not, I'm not trying to like do a plug. I'm just saying it's critical to the actual mechanism of continuing business in a period when you potentially have to stop. So I think the biggest challenge we face is obviously COVID, but we've had we've had turbulence along the way, but thankfully mostly growth. Growth problems are nice.
Yeah. I think COVID was a big shock to all of us, and I think, like you said, to a lot of businesses that didn't actually make it. And I think all of us in e-commerce are very lucky to have been in the right place at the right time and protected by the screen in front of us. And I think, I think we have a lot to be thankful for. But on a more positive note, so this is sort of the question that everybody is going to try and get to is, what was the biggest factor to your success? There probably isn't one. There's probably a couple of things that kind of play a role. But if you can sort of share with other merchants that are in that growth phase, what did you do right? What was the biggest factor to your success?
Nick's
I
gonna tell you.
already know the answer.
No, you're gonna say something totally different to me, but it's fine. I'm gonna go first, so you can correct me. I truly believe. I mean, it's something that actually Nick speaks about a lot, and I think our biggest. I mean, if I think for now our growth and our success solely lies in the people in Veldskoen. If you look at our culture, if you look at the people that work, that we work with, they live the brand, they love the brand, and they are. For me, that to me has been one of our most successful things. I think we have incredible people that we work with. I think myself and Nick are blessed to be in the position that we are. And I think for me, that's been my biggest attribute. But I think to go back a step, and I think Nick will carry on from this as well, is our biggest thing is that we just did it. We didn't stop. Everyone came to us and said, "Oh, they've always thought about this and they've always thought about that, and they're scared to collaborate and they're scared to talk to people." I think myself and Nick just jumped into it and we did it. And after just doing it, I think we found an incredible team that believed in our product and believed in South Africa and wanted to see us succeed. And I think that's been our biggest success.
Yeah. I absolutely knew the answer when Ross said it, because it's obvious, right? Like, to start off with, you just got to go. And
Feel the fear and do it anyway.
You know how many times people told us that we had to have a focus group or a research session, and we were like, guys, we don't have a clue what we're doing in the first place. I'm not sure what they're going to tell us. Like, it's just we don't
know what to ask this focus group.
We don't have to ask them. So and also we always felt like we were on a path of our own. Anyway, but the point I want to make, because you asked it about maybe vendors or customers of yours, they want to come down to that one thing. And I think for me is the courage to just do it. And to try and find, and when you just do it, what you do is you actually get rid of all the reasons not to do it. And I speak about this subject often because most of the time, people that don't open a business or proceed online and to pursue something have found very good reasons inside themselves to not do it. And I can rank them for you. A, I don't know anything about the industry. B, I've got no funding. C, I've got no money, working capital. 4, I've got no resources, no people. I've got no network. I've got all of that, all of these reasons not to do it. The great thing about Veldskoen is that every single one of those reasons applied to Veldskoen on day one. We had no money. We had no funding. We had no experience. We had no knowledge of the industry. We had no knowledge of how to manufacture it. Ross and I, we are literally the physical embodiment of not knowing how to do it, but literally just doing it. And the truth is, everyone's talented. Your vendors out there, I promise you, they're smart. They just may not know it. But you have to just get stuck in. If you don't know how to build an e-commerce site, give Nick and Ross a call. You know, we never knew how to do it. We'll tell you how to go onto Shopify and talk to Unet and PayFast and go onto YouTube and learn how to do it. There's help out there. Ask for help. Get stuck in, and you'll figure it out. If two very, very inexperienced guys like myself and Ross can pull it off, then I promise you, 90% of your audience is more than capable. So if you had to ask me what the one thing is just getting down to it and doing it.
I think Nick's 100% right. You know, the problem is if you start, like, I mean, I can tell you a million reasons why not to do Veldskoen. That I can tell you. Yeah, there are a million reasons. Yeah, but the fact of the matter is, if you look at that, you're not going to get anywhere. Yeah, you have to just try and believe it and do it. And yeah, everyone calls us. I mean, everyone called myself and Nick naive. I mean, we've heard that so many times. Yeah. But the fact of the matter is that being naive is actually a great thing, because you just want to go out there and do it and try it. I mean, we were having fun, creating this company, talking about this and what we want to do and how we want to do it. And sure, we went out and we sold one shoe, and then we sold two, then we sold four, then we sold 10, then we sold 80, then we sold 100, and then we sold 500, and then we sold 10,000, then we sold 100,000. So the fact of the matter is that people should just actually believe in themselves and just actually, as I said, just do it.
Honestly, I'm going to take this little snippet and post it to every e-commerce group that I know of, because I think that's what it actually is. It comes down to this, you just feel the fear and you do it anyway, and you jump in and you have to try.
You do.
And also get very comfortable with failure. Get comfortable right from the first. Like just get ready to fail. You're gonna fail hard.
There's a great saying where they say, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And when myself and Nick read that, we were like, that's exactly where we are. We've been uncomfortable for the last 5 years, and it's been very uncomfortable. But I'll tell you what, it's been the best ride and the best fun that we've ever had. And I think South Africans should just start believing in themselves, because we've got a lot to offer.
It's true. Okay, so we've heard you guys say this, and maybe you guys can give us a little bit more of a background of why you say this. But if you say, if us Muppets can do it, anyone can. Can you explain that a little bit for us?
I think we should go back to where we come from, right? So we went to Pretoria Boys High, where it's a boys' school and it's super competitive. And Ross and I have actually been friends since it's literally, I think, my earliest memories were probably with Ross and him with me. And so we've been stuck with each other for all this time. So we are incredibly comfortable with our debate, with sharing strategy and all the rest of it. But we're also very comfortable taking the mick out of each other in a kind and respectful way. We understand each other. But when we say that if the two of us Muppets could do it, obviously, it's almost a term of endearment towards each other. But there's a literal meaning to that. And when I say Muppets, clearly, we're self-deprecating, which is totally fine. But let me just give you context to how we say Muppets. We believe that we are completely naive in the industry that we've chosen. None of our skill sets are relevant to starting a footwear brand, believe me. So when we say something like that, it's almost to make the point rather that as a startup or as an entrepreneur, you don't have to get caught up with what you think you're good at. Yeah. Just work out what it is you want to do, find something that you're passionate about, and then have a crack at it. And we always talk about, Ross alluded to it earlier, this naivety, right? It's like a child. A child jumps from a very high level into a swimming pool because they naively don't know that it might hurt. They just do it. When we started Veldskoen, it was similar. We just got stuck in. We had no idea how difficult the footwear business was. We just did it because we were naive. But the thing that made it work, and I mentioned this on another chat the other day, is that we were enthusiastic. And so to qualify the comment about if two Muppets like us can do it, it's true. We are muppets because we were completely naive. Our skill sets didn't align to footwear or apparel or online or digital, but we were enthusiastic and we were naive enough to give it a go. And so the point of that sentence is to show people that, is to say that if we can do it, guys, then you really can do it. And that's not an idle statement.
Yeah, look, if you guys understood how mediocre we were, you'd understand that statement even a lot better. And it is. It's I think people are just hesitant to believe in themselves and give it a go. And I think that's what that statement is that we had no knowledge, as in no knowledge about anything that we're doing now. Yeah, and we've had to learn. And look, don't for one moment don't think it's hard work. It is hard work. There's myself and Nick were holding down day jobs, and then in the evening, till 2-3 in the morning, we were doing this. So there's definitely a commitment to it. But the fact of the matter is that if you want to do something, I know it sounds corny, but you really can. Everyone thinks about what you can't do, but you should actually start thinking about what you can do. And once people start believing that, I think it's going to be better for everyone.
Just a quick question back to you guys. You guys are at the forefront of seeing digital entrepreneurs and trying to build e-com and all the rest of it. What do you see as the barriers to success or potential failure? What are the elements that contribute?
We tell you this around. I like that. Yeah.
I'm looking for the silver bullets, Zona.
Yeah. What's the answer?
Yeah. What are the challenges that you guys are presented with?
So we often actually get very much the same thing. It's this fear of the unknown, firstly. This really great idea that nobody is able to conceptualize. Or you have the alternative where you have somebody who's got this really great idea, but they have no mind map or guideline as to how to achieve it. So it's often people that just feel too uncertain to just kind of dive in and figure it out for themselves because they feel like they probably need to know a lot more. So, that's where, I don't know if you've heard of Insaka, it's Warwick Kearns' company. We work quite a lot with. And he's kind of built his entire company. It's an e-commerce academy. And he's built his entire company around that, is teaching people the basics. Not necessarily how to build a website, but, this is an option. Look at this. Try this. This is the difference between Shopify and WooCommerce, and giving people those resources. And I think a fear of the lack of knowledge, I would say, is a very, very big thing for people.
Myself and Nick, just so you guys know, tried 72 different types of customer care services before we got before we realized that we were very useless at it. So we came up with it, and I don't think it's maybe it's not the platform to really discuss this, but we even had alter egos in terms of of our customer care, because we were getting shouted at so much. We went through names to say, just to cover ourselves, to say, we fired Nick. Here's John, and John was Nick. John had 9 people. Nick had 9 people. I had about 9 people, and we went through it. So, the fear is real. But the fact of the matter is that as soon as you do it, and you realize it, it becomes a lot. That anxiety goes away, because you just have to jump in. You literally just have to jump in and do it.
I said to Ross, I think this might help mentally for a bunch of people listening, is when you get customer complaints and they hate you, it's tough, right? Like, criticism's hard on any given day, and then somebody else complains, and then somebody else complains, and then you start panicking. And I said to Ross, don't forget, they're not all in one room.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
So just deal with them one at a time. They're not all in one room, so they're not waking each other up. Just deal with it in one person at a time. And I think,
and you're gonna,
that around your head, then it mitigates it a little bit.
And you're gonna fail, like we failed hard, and really we have, and we've been uncomfortable. But I promise you, it's worth the ride. I can't explain to people. It really has. For me, coming to work every day is an absolute blessing. I really, it really is. I've got my family around me. I've got friends around me. I've got an incredible work environment, and you can create that, and that's the reward. The reward is not all the success and PR. The reward is actually your day to day, living that you get to spend with amazing people, and I think that's for us is a big achievement.
It's amazing to hear the two of you speak so much about just jumping in and doing it, because I think that's really where a lot of people lack, is just this motivation to actually just do it. So it's really great to hear from two people where it's paid off and where it was 100% worth it, and you'd encourage it to anyone, and it's really great. It's good to spread, which I will, by the way.
I think another big thing is a lot of people don't know where to find information. And for you guys to say that you started with no knowledge at all and you just kept looking and looking and looking, and eventually you found information that helped you achieve this, is strong enough for people to know that if they look, they will find what they need to find in order to make their business a success.
And
that we started before uAfrica had an interface on Shopify.
Yeah.
So we were handwriting waybills for a long time before it came around, right? Freya, my wife, actually just sent me a picture of her 7 months pregnant at a postnet writing out waybills to send shoes. And I mean, how's this for the spirit of Ubuntu, right? We had to send out all our shoes early days via postnet, and Mrs. Dreyer was, I think, 7 months pregnant, writing out waybills at a postnet on a Saturday morning, every Saturday and every Sunday, because that's the only time we could find, that they brought furniture into the postnet so that she could be comfortable while writing the sheets out. Isn't that amazing?
That is amazing.
The other day, and it's a wonderful early start, those days. But it just reminds us of the humanity around all of these things. But I digress. The bottom line is that if people don't have information, the tools are getting better and smarter and easier. But I also want to just put it out there to people: never forget to ask for help. I don't know why people don't. We have made ourselves available. I think Ross will say this. During COVID, that hard lockdown, I think we were on calls at least for an hour a day with people that were trying to start e-commerce businesses, and we were just doing consulting for free, just to help people get online. And all we kept saying is, guys, just get in touch with us. If we don't have the time, you may have to wait a little bit, but just ask for help, because we are living in a country where people are willing to help, and it's important. Don't have an ego issue. None of us know what we're doing 90% of the time. So just ask for help. And even today, and I'll say it out loud on this platform, if there's somebody that needs help from us, we will help. I'm not saying it'll be tomorrow, and I'm not saying we can give 20 hours, but we can definitely help and try and push in the right direction. And we're always happy to do that. And every time we've asked for help, we've received help.
Yeah, and I think that's a very valuable valuable point, is because we've even helped two shoe companies who effectively are competitors to us, help them get online. It's not about Nick has this wonderful thing about people always say, but competition and this and that and Veldskoen, and there's 100 other brands. We've always wanted that. We didn't want a bigger piece of that pie. We wanted, or that pizza. We wanted to grow that pie and pizza. We want more South Africans to produce shoes. We want to make sure that we get as much manufacturing in South Africa as we can. So we've always wanted to grow the pizza, not make it smaller, or not try to be sort of hidden in what we've done and how we've done it. We'll share with everyone what we've done and how we've done it. We've got no problem with that. We want it and we encourage it, and that's why we've helped the shoe brand launch. And he's done exceptionally well, and he's still doing exceptionally well. And and it's a case of him. I mean, he sat in our office for what, 8 months, 9 months, literally every day. He asked us, how do you do this? Where do I go this? What do I do there? Yeah. And it's a case of just actually just help, or just ask for help and persist a bit, because you'll get there.
Awesome. I think at this point, now that you've said ask for help, I think we're going to move on to sort of the Q&A side of things.
Nice.
I'm going to start off with a personal question, actually, because this is a question that we get a lot from merchants, and I don't know if you have the answer to it, but it's worth a shot. So you guys started here, and then you moved internationally, and a lot of people struggle with that concept. Yeah, it's a daunting thing for them. So what would your advice be to other merchants that are trying to break into the international market?
Wow, it's a really good question, and it's also a really tough question to answer, right? Because there's many ways to do it. If it was me, I mean, we've got our own distribution network that we've now built over time, and that was part of our business strategy. You firstly got to ask yourself what your business strategy is. If you want to deliver product globally and you've got enough margin, you can do it from South Africa. That's one thing that's important to know. There's a couple of apparel brands that are doing it very successfully. They deliver into 60 countries all over the world, and they do it directly from Cape Town. So that's possible. And that's possible through technology, apps that have geolocation, pricing, and third-party banking, which means you can collect money in different currencies. All of that is possible, and we've got great banking solutions in South Africa that allow for it. So that's sort of the easy, most accessible option to most people, but they need to have the margin to support it. So if you've got like a 40% margin and you're sitting at about 300-400 rand a product, you're going to struggle, because to get it abroad is going to cost you 250-300, depending on the size of whatever it is you're sending. So there's a mathematical equation that has to be run in order for that to work. The second option is to find distributors and or agents to carry your product abroad. That is a model that we have found to be successful for us, but the challenges are, who do you use? Find the right people. You've got legal requirements, you've got exchange control. All of that stuff is tough to do, but if you get it right in the long term, I think it's a solid base of which you could grow substantially globally, and I think maybe develop a lot more value in your business. But it is the long way around. Those are the two real clear options in my brain.
Can I jump in?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, I'm gonna simplify it for you guys. All right. It's very simple. It all depends on what product you have. As Nick says, the margins play a big part. But the reality is, once again, we're going to go back to it. Just do it. That's as simple as that. So what we did is we literally picked up the phone and started phoning people that we knew in America and said, we want to do this. How do you do it? And they're like, they've got no idea, but let me ask Tom. And then Tom asked Barbara, and Barbara asked Vanessa, and then we got to Tammy, and then we got on. And that's how we did it. We literally just started burning our network and seeing how we did it. The reason why we got into the UK was exactly that. Nick phoned his family and said, "I'm coming to the UK. I need, we need to do this. Can you?" Yeah, and they were like, "Yeah, go speak to this shop. They sell shoes," and that's what we did. We literally bought a ticket, went to the UK. We literally lived like absolute paupers. We didn't have money for food or anything really there. Had a few beers, definitely. But the fact matters, we just did it. And I think that's the big thing, is you just have to try and there is no like Nick says, there's no golden bullet. There's no guys, if you do this and this and this and this and this and that, that's how that's going to happen. You literally just have to go out and do it. When we went into America, the first thing they said, "Listen, but do you have a SARB certificate?" And we're like, "No, we don't." And we're like, "Okay, well, that's obviously what we have to now go find out what that is." We exported 10,000 shoes before we even had our certificate. So the fact of the matter is that you just literally have to go and do it. That's my only advice.
Okay.
Cool. Okay, so before I carry on with my next question, I just want to again encourage anybody, if you've got any questions, now's the time to ask. So shoot them away in the chat.
Just by the way, I'm going to just say something. You said that was a personal question.
Personal question, as I've wondered it. And because I get this question from, I think, 50% of uAfrica merchants who ask me the same question, and I cannot give them an answer.
Yeah.
I guess my answer then really doesn't really help. Yeah, just do it, because that doesn't really give them any direction.
It's
But
great. I tell them that this is what Veldskoen told me, so they must just do it. And I'll send them your email address.
Please, my email address is nick@veldskoen.com. Just remember that one. Look, I think I don't have in that regard. I think you have to. It's all. You go back to your strategy on what you want to do and how you want to do it. Yeah. Look at the margin. Start reaching out to people that do it. And if they do, and Danica, I really do. I encourage, if people do phone you, like literally say, here's Ross's number or Nick's number, speak to them, because we're very happy to tell them how we've done it, and we've just aligned ourselves with South Africans.
Love it. Okay, I know you've covered, and Nick has answered this question to a degree, and Ross, you've covered some of this. But Philip has asked a question in the chat a while ago. The distributors you guys found abroad, were they part of your existing network, or how did you guys find/approach them?
No, they weren't part of our network at all. So what we did was we actually sat down and we decided that we want to try and find distributors around the world. And we once again, the same thing that Nick did in terms of a video. We went onto Facebook and we went onto a few different other platforms, and we said, guys, we're looking for distributors, and this is what we do. And if anyone's interested, let us know. And we did stress we did push it out to our own networks. So we found guys. Our first distributor in Australia was actually one of our good friends, and then it was passed on to our new distributors, Rebecca and Greg, which are incredible South Africans doing amazing things in Australia. So it's also the same thing. You might go through one or two different distributors as well, but from our side, it wasn't only our network. We literally put it out there, and there's always people looking for some opportunity, and you'll be amazed what you actually find. If you just put yourself out there, you'll be amazed at what you get back.
Absolutely incredible.
Yeah. For Philip's answer, it wasn't. We didn't have this big global network that we started with.
No.
That's very cool. It's like again very motivating for anyone. It's just hearing your story and going, I'm not alone in this. I'm also not sure what you're doing, but at least they did do this. So it's good to hear. If there are no more questions, I think Crystal has one more question.
I do. Cool. So this one is a very important one. Probably the most important question of the evening.
Can't wait to hear this one.
Ross, this one's for you.
Nice.
How does it feel to be working with Fat Sam Smith?
I'm so glad you asked that question, because we got another 45 minutes, because I can tell you everything.
I need to get closer into the camera so that everybody can appreciate how true this is.
No, he is definitely. Look, just take your glasses off.
Yeah, take the glasses off.
Yeah, there we go. If I could encourage, and I really do, I encourage all the people listening to just go Google, Fat Sam Smith, and you'll literally get a picture of Nick Dreyer. It's the ideal.
I will. You say it like it's a bad thing. I mean, I own it like a badge of honor.
That's good.
I'm sure you can make
I'm gonna turn around, unfortunately, and actually say, and I mean, and I appreciate the question in this tone, is that I have to admit, if I've been very fortunate in over the last 5 years to really have a great friend, to work with a great friend. It has been an incredible venture. We've been blessed in this business, and we really have been blessed. I can't explain to you. I don't know why we've been blessed, but the good Lord has definitely blessed myself and Nick. Yeah, we've come a long way, and I have to admit, as I said, coming into work every day to work with my business partner Nick is really incredible. The fact that I do work with a fat Sam Smith is really nice.
It is
Thank
really
you.
the coolest.
I'm not 100% sure how to take that, but I will take it.
No, it is. It's been great.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys. Really, you guys have done an amazing job. It's been incredible getting to know the two of you throughout the last couple of weeks where we've been planning this and trying to get it on board, and then obviously having you guys as customers of both of the companies that we work for. Really incredible story, and you guys have really motivated, I think, not only me, but I think everybody on this call.
Definitely.
And everybody who will be watching this. It's really an incredible story that you have, and your love for South Africa is something else. It's something out of this world.
Definitely.
Thank you, Crystal. Thank you very much. Really do appreciate the time. We really do. The fact that we're able to talk on these kind of platforms is incredible. And also, last thing is I encourage all your listeners to go and find yourself a fat Sam Smith, because it's great.
Just tell us, where did you find this one? So
okay. Can I just quickly before you? So and I'll never forget this. It's the most incredible story. We went to Pretoria Boys High, and the year before, my mother said, "Listen, we have to go get our uniform." And there was only one place in, I think it was Van Skyks, in the middle of central of Pretoria, where you had to get your uniform. And I literally went there with my mom. And I'll never forget, I saw this very imposing man essentially marching down this aisle, and he was in full attire of like a military attire. And there was this very long, skinny little boy running behind him, and he was very efficient in saying, pick up that, that's your size, get that, there we go. And my mom literally looked at me and said, that could be your dad. I'm like, woo, no, thank you. Like that was I can't handle instructions like that. And literally I watched this kid run around behind his dad, to every department. And as I got to Boys High, the first day we sit around, there's this big pond that all standard sixes, or grade 8 sit around. And at Boys High there was 350 of us. And true as Bob, the first person I walked past is this skinny, long, person. And I said, like, I saw you at the shop, like last year. And he was like, hi, yes, I'm Nick. And I said, well, I'm Ross. And that's how our friendship started. So, and it's been a long road since then, a very, very long road since then.
Guys, just from my side, I know we've said our goodbyes, but just one last thing from me. And I think, thank you so much for having us on. And it's important for us to be on things like this, because I think there's a requirement and almost a responsibility to let people know that they can do these things, and to get stuck in, because one of the most important things we need to do in South Africa is to create opportunity. And if we can't find opportunity, we have to create it for ourselves, and then support local manufacturing and local sales. So I think that's just hugely important. And then one last thing, and I know you guys you've said that you've recognized in us our passion for South Africa. For everybody watching here and abroad, don't forget that this is one of the greatest countries in the world. And there's opportunity available here that are not available anywhere else on planet Earth. And so, like, obviously recognize our issues, but let's not forget there's worse places to be, and very few places to be that are better. So let's we should always remind ourselves of that. It's easy to get bogged down in the news, but just think about it. You could be stuck in a South Pacific island without the right to travel to the rest of the world. So there's a lot going for us here, guys. I promise you.
Yeah,
definitely.
Lekker.
Great. Well, thanks so much once again. We've thoroughly enjoyed all of this, and we hope to have you back sometime soon.
Nice.
Absolutely. first in-person event, you will definitely be headline speakers.
100. We'll see you Sam in the flesh.
Yes, lovely.
We're not saying which one it will be.
Sure.
Okay, Crystal, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Awesome. Have a great evening, guys. Bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye.